All right, everyone. Are we all in?
We're here.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's kind of run down the PowerPoint and see kind of where we're all at in terms of our slides then.
Okay.
Alrighty. So first up is like the conversation and its relevance, right?
Right. And I'll go ahead and take that.
Sure.
All right. You. Are we recording yet or?
Yeah, we are.
All right. First off, this. Why is the conversation relevant? Today, social media sources for those connected have now replaced the traditional source for obtaining news. The news received from most social networks have replaced the traditional way of obtaining news, such as newspaper, radio, television, and as well as word of mouth.
All right. Cool. Cool. Um, I
Moving
guess.
on.
Yeah, I guess the next slide is mine. So I guess in terms of benefits, I was kind of trying to mesh my ideas with what I kind of found online and through some of the sources I was looking at. And the ones that I thought were most important, there's kind of a lot of them because there are a lot of benefits to using social media as news. But a few of them are things like how I guess social media, the gatekeeper, there's no gatekeeper in terms of how you spread news. So it allows for certain kinds of stories, sort of kinds of information that otherwise wouldn't be pursued by other big media networks to get reported on. So that kind of information can get to whoever wants it through social media. Another important benefit I thought would be kind of the quick response, the first respondents, those on the front line of the news, kind of social media companies and whatnot, but they're really the ones that get the story out quicker before it can even get into the station and framed and how they want to use it. So it's a good way to get raw information. That has its negatives too, but I also think it's positive in that sense. Um, Again, it's right when you want it, so I think it's more digestible too because you don't have time to really, write this big formulaic kind of story. You just kind of write what you see, and people tend to use, more relatable terms and more relatable ways to get it to people, which is important. And then again, kind of what we did in the past week with our other modules, social media really filters the kind of news you get to a person. So it's cool because I guess based off of what you use internet-wise, where you visit, you can kind of just get the news that you want at home or on the go. So I think that's an important benefit. And then I thought of maybe adding some examples of these benefits. So I picked a few, one of them being 9/11 over in New York. All those people that were there and able to capture footage, capture pictures, and really say anything on social media to let people know what was going on was kind of important. I know social media wasn't necessarily the biggest back then, but I think it's a good example of one of the first major events that led to that. The Belgian terror attack in Brussels, in the metro. All of those that were affected or in the area were able to check in for their safety on Facebook. Some of the sources I read said that the system was kind of flawed, and it is, and it's kind of meant to be that way because it is social media and it's supposed to be kind of a free, open way to use it. So I thought that was a good example. Again, Paul Oren on Valpo basketball. When Bryce Drew did make his departure, if you followed Paul Oren on Twitter, you would see that he was kind of reporting on this stuff before ESPN or Valpo was allowed to even touch it. So it's cool that we get to see that before the major networks are even able to make a move on that kind of information. And special interest news is another example. It kind of provides that information with an opinion. So it's also beneficial to see how people's opinions differ on certain topics and information, and it's kind of a good way also to, I guess, market your information because you know who wants to see your information, and as a consumer, you get to get the information that you want. I thought it'd be maybe a good slide to include if we use the kind of what does social media replace. And I thought of TV, newspaper, radio, and then word of mouth kind of incorporates a lot of different things. I mean, I don't want to put a big old laundry list on one of the slides, but I think those are the important ones just to kind of mention, and kind of a good segue between the benefits, like I just talked about, and the risks. And I believe, who had the risks again?
Me.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so um, just talking about the fact that the information is filtered, just as you mentioned, like as being a benefit, I think is also a risk. I mean, it's like one of the biggest risks that we can have because we don't like we have narrow-minded view of the event. Like we don't really have the information from every perspective, if I can say so. We just have information coming from the sources like we or like we use to look at it. So like, we have narrow-minded and misinformation. I say like the fact that everybody uh, have have the possibility to post something on social media, and that we don't really know if the information is true or false. And by the time we read the information, sometimes we can tell. So we believe in some information being true while they are not true. I
Right.
also talk about the information bubbles, like uh, based on the class, like last week class reading, um, like the fact that other people decide what we read. So this also, I think, is a sort of is a sort of filtration. So like the fact that information, I mean, we don't have every information, like the information that we need to have because it's featured by Google or every other website. Um, as example, um, I mentioned about the Ebola disease. We had many uncertainties about the public health. Uh, I read on New York Times um, some people was posting on social media that the information was in some state in the United States, um, but it was not there. So we are confused about where like the accurate and and factual um, I mean place. Okay, I mean the factual information about the disease. I also mentioned about this article, Whisper article, which encourages anonymous posting, and like the fact that this article allow everybody to post like without citing the name or something like that, as a result of some false information being investigated as being true. I also talk about the Boston bombing. Uh, we had there a big misinformation because mm, the law ha- uh, after the bombing, the law require that the social media and every kind of source of information being shut down to be able to localize the the terrorist. And by the time by that time, there was many misinformation on the internet. People were posting like wherever they want because they didn't have true information until the Department of the police department decided actually to post the true information. So that basically um, what I chose to talk about as examples of risk of social media.
All right, you guys ready to move on to the recommendations?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, the biggest thing is we need to verify the source of where we're getting this social media news from. It has to be from a reputable news like the New York Times, NPR, and sometimes we know that Fox News and CNN, they swing one way or the other politically, but you can still get a good outcome of what the news is actually uh, out there. But I definitely recommend cross-referencing all of your news, uh, even if it is on social media. Um, as far as the plan of action, always protect your personal information on social media sites because once it's out there, it's public. Don't I would highly recommend don't to disclose political views for professional reasons, since information is public, and always stay away from clicking on the advertisements or solicitation to prevent trafficking and further narrowing of the news posts.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I also want to bring up when you brought up 9/11 and then going to Brussels. Just look how much social media has changed from 2001 till to now. With everybody like they were checking in. Remember in New York when people are posting pictures and everything else. So in that aspect, I think social media definitely helped us out.
Yeah, it definitely evolved. Um, but yeah, cool. I think that all sounds really good. Do you guys think there's anything maybe we're missing?
Um, I mean, I think you covered the benefits pretty well. Maybe just one more example on on a con, maybe.
Okay, that makes sense. I also think maybe for our suggested plan of action, um, we can maybe add like one more point, and you kind of covered it in your recommendation, kind of how cross-reference your stuff and make sure it's true.
Right.
So I guess like maybe another suggested plan of action would be when you do use social media as news, make sure that you don't just use one source and you cross-reference with other places, because I think that's definitely a good part of the plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so guys, what do you think about the risks? Is that now that we have to add?
The example of a risk, I definitely think, one example that comes to mind for me was what happened in Ferguson. Um, Kind of how there was a lot of technicalities and legal aspects to what went on there, what exactly was the law, like letter of the law in terms of how they were going to rule on that. And I think a lot of people took to social media and started posting opinions, and people started to read opinions and not facts. So I think
Right.
that's a good example.
That's definitely a good one because there were so many news stories flying all over the place when that went down.
Yeah, it's hard to get lost in the noise and kind of refocus on the facts. So that is one big risk that people might face. So I think that'd be good to add.
Okay, I agree.
But I mean, besides that, I think we really covered every other aspect. So I think the information is all there. So I think it's just time to put it all together and put on some finishing touches onto what we're trying to put
Right,
together.
and I'm not saying that social media is wrong. I think it's always just like anything. It's going to have its benefits and it's going to have its cons.
Right, it's a dual-edged sword. It's just how
Yes,
you use it.
you just got to be very careful what you do, and
Exactly.
you really need to filter it.
Right. All right. Well, I think I'm good information-wise. I think we're all doing good. So,
Okay,
um,
sounds good to me.
yeah, you guys good then?
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we'll talk and we'll regroup later. Sounds good?
sounds good to me.
Awesome. Later.